Yo, yo, it's your boy K.Z.U.P TV, and I'm gonna just do a quick little briefing about why this flat earth is a flat out lie. Now, I'm gonna let y'all know I was gonna get a spiel a little bit earlier. This Kobe Bryant thing, got me backtracked. I spit a couple of my gems out on one of the homies' sites they had going on today. And basically, my breakdown that I was gonna do on flat earth is a flat lie. I basically used a couple of my gems on somebody else's podcast. So let me get my paper. I might use some of it, but really all I'm doing is trying to give y'all a quick breakdown why this flat Earth conspiracy is a flat out lie. Like I said, I'm flipping through my notes right now because I had a nice little break rundown on beating up flat Earth, but they better be glad I ain't use all my gems. Now, where I'm gonna start at, like I say, I'm gonna just give a quick briefing. I left the panel open just in case somebody want to test the waters. But it goes something like this. Now, uh, first of all, flat earthers always end up proving themselves wrong, and they usually end up proving that it's a globe, but they just I don't know. I guess they just stumble over it and act like they right for some kind of way. But it's a few things more satisfying in life than watching dumbass people because of their own cause their own destruction. Now, getting to witness an idiot downfall without anyone else having to lift a finger is just so beautifully poetic to me. But the disturbing thing, I guess they just try to ignore it, but they usually slip up and say something. Yeah, I know in my case, they usually try to use a biblical reference, which they say they don't believe in God, or something just out there. Well, anyways, about the documentary Behind the Curve. It provides some of the best self owns I ever seen in my entire life. So get ready for this, show. It's hard to believe, Behind the Curve is a real documentary. I can't believe they still released it, but it was actually released in 2019. But here we go. Flat Earthers, unfortunately, they alive and well, but the only thing harder to believe is that they actually went through with releasing this movie after they kicked their own ass not once but twice with science. So, like I usually say, these flat earthers, they must have got a fucking F in motherfucking science because they ain't used shit that they learned in grade school. Now, you know, just by teaching people or being educational, it's always good to challenge something. You know, I mean, it's just good mind work to challenge it. To see if you're right. I know you've been in class where a student that is usually a student that's kind of smart, and then they have try to tell the math teacher something. But the math teacher basically know the math is just numbers, right? They experts at it. Well, anyways, I'm about to tell you how these flat earthers they self prove they self to be wrong. But I witness it every day or every week at least, and they just turn the head the other way or try to jump topic. Well, anyways, one of the experiments, which is actually at the end of the doc, so I'm gonna go backwards. You'll see why. Now, this involves a famous flat earther YouTuber. I know y'all uh, know about Jerry Campanella. Now, attempting to shine a light at 2 points, the same distance off the ground. The idea was, if the height of the middle of the light to the ground was different measurement, then that would prove the ground between both points had occurred. Now, I'll spare you the details. All you have to know is he tries a bunch of times, but he can't get it to work. Okay. So, he tries another experiment this time, and then he cut a hole in two boards, place them both so the holes are 17 feet off the ground. And then he tries to shine a light through them. So, the thinking here is, he would have, to hold the light 17 feet off the ground because there's no curve, in Earth because it's flat, right? Well, except it's not, and he ends up having to hold the light 23 feet off the ground because the ground has a curve. Fucked him up. Just straight debunked itself. Because the Earth is the globe. Like, damn, they teach you this shit at school. Now, amazingly, he has only one thing to say. You know what he said after it didn't work? This flat earther said, what did he say? He said, oh, that's interesting. No shit, Sherlock. Well, this next one, oh man. uh, you know, in a bit of background, a gyroscope, you know, measures angular velocity and is used in airplanes to maintain the orientation and make sure they stay upright. So, if the Earth is around like thousands of years of science, and literally anyone with half of a brain would tell you, then that means that in order to make a full rotation in 24 hours, we need to turn at a rate of 15 degrees per hour. So, uh, y'all know the YouTuber Bob Noble. He buys one of these bad boys and turn it on, and you're never gonna guess what happened. The gyroscope picked up a drift of, wait for it, 15 degrees per hour. Now they refuse to accept these results because why start listening to science now? I guess so. They encased the gyroscope in a zero gauge chamber to prove that it wasn't registering the rotation of the Earth, but rather the rotation of the sky. Okay, I'll give you a chance to predict it. Now, what the result of round two was? Still picking up that 15-degree per hour rotation. Weird, right? I mean, so, the massive cell phone cost Bob Noble, it cost him $20,000, and literally any shred of integrity this insane movement had left. And watching the whole thing go down, it was so priceless because, he just made himself look really stupid. So, flat earthers, they went all through that, two big experiments, spent all their damn money for what? They end up spending money to show that the earth was round. I mean, now typically, you wouldn't think that it would get any worse than that. That was, about some dumb shit, but I don't know. I mean, I don't like calling people dumb, but it's like, is flat earthers dumb or is they just, free speaking, freedom of speech, exercising a right? I don't know. But for centuries, a spherical earth, it has been scientifically accepted as fact, first proposed around 500 BC. Now, since most, astronomers, philosophers, they've only expanded on a model, yet about 2,500 years later, there's still many who believe, it was actually wrong. Now, the Earth is undeniably flat, they argue, and the spherical model has been an attempt to mislead and take advantage of the general populace. Now, if anything, the typical flat earther is somebody that wants to account for their beliefs, through evidence and, really take responsibility for them. Now, this is good. We've seen far too often the consequences of the opposite. Now, there's just one answer, as the community is, is radically diverse. I say they just trying to like a radical cult or something. I don't know, but see some of these flat Earth, see the Earth is a flat disk. Where the North Pole's at the center of Antarctica, making up the entire perimeter like icy walls. Keeping the oceans contained. Now, some believe the stars projected on a dome, that the sun is also flat, that there are no other planets, and that everything past our blue sky is just made up. So they think all this shit is fake. And so for some, a flat Earth is just the beginning of their theory. Okay. Now, one common thread, flat earthers, they believe it's not only a lie humanity has gobbled up, but flat earthers are also more likely to believe in conspiracy theories, especially government-based ones. They'd be more likely to believe 9/11 was an inside job or that drugs were brought into the communities, but most commonly they believe that countless space advances, the government has, accomplished over 60 years. They just see they the shit never happened. Neil Armstrong on the moon, they like, nope. Satellites launch into orbit, they like, nah. And the photos on the Earth are fake. They allege that, they think NASA is a cover up just to allow the high ranking officials, the opportunity to embezzle, millions of dollars while using a small portion, to the fake image of the video. Now, I mean, if they went that far as saying, NASA make too much money, somebody could be lying about something somewhere, or somebody getting some extra money. Yeah, on a smaller scale. Okay, it's just like a police officer. I was telling somebody earlier, a crooked police officer. It might be do a bust and take some of the money. You know what I mean? But it's not the whole organization. Well, anyway, that's just a small little theory. But when they say the Son of God, did they mean son? You know what I mean? A native man believed that the sun, was the creator. The day brings light and life, and the moon protects from the dangers of night, which means the sun and moon are the same size. Both revolve around the sun. The stars revolve around the earth. The earth is the center of the universe. Now, um, but not entirely. That also leaves the government. They think they benefit from the widespread of everybody accepting the fact that we was taught that it's a spherical Earth. So many others they doubted the reality of gravity. And so I would say okay. You want to doubt gravity. I guess you can doubt it since both sides say that we don't know we don't know everybody don't know what I want to say. We don't know about gravity. Okay, basically, we know a little bit about it, but we don't know enough to be like, aha. You know what I mean? So some replace it with Tesla's Aether. Now, Tesla was a smart dude and all that. If you ever read his book, it's another force is like gravity, though. What people don't fail to realize, much of all his work was basically destroyed. So whatever he was talking about, nobody even on accurate of Tesla's fucking science because all Tesla's work was fucking destroyed. Now, um, we got atheists. They very religious engineers, scientists, conspiracy theorists. They all engage in discussions about the number of flat models and, some, small-minded roundish trying their best to prove us wrong because we the ones that learned the shit in school. That's why we really wouldn't test it, But behind the flat earth community, you know, you know, flat earthers on a large scale in the 1830s, it was pretty big. What's his name? Samuel Robotham. He had, made a 16-page pamphlet, called it, zetetic astronomy, and this expanded into zetetic astronomy. Earth is not a globe, 430 page book, which, they got all kinds of models, sketches, and experiments to test the planet's curve. But he argued his book, would take more scientific approach, though also ventured that the round earth ideology was an attempt to replace or undermine religion in society. Now, he ventured, the earth was a flat disk with the North Pole as the center, South America forming an icy perimeter. This model was almost accepted with, many flat earthers, drawing parallel between the model and the United Nations flag, stating that most world leaders know the world is flat, which is not true. Now, as you know, the University of Zetic Society in 1956 with Samuel Shenton, he's an English writer and a successor to the Flat Earth Society. He focused less on religion than, Robotham. Through, parallels with religion, flat earthism continues to this day. So, I mean, like I said, I don't have a problem with anyone challenging things, but once you start seeing the facts that, you got to know what you're talking. Even from when they say the Bible is proof that the earth is flat. I read the Bible. And all that I read in the Bible, it still never told me that the earth was flat. Okay, so, and they get mad when we tell them that maybe that y'all was reading the scriptures wrong. It describes the creation of the world as God creating land and water and not other planets and stars. Like, really. Now imagine, we're fairly even with the populace as a whole, and as far as our intelligence goes. So despite some of these high profile members from flat earthers, they are often ridiculed for their beliefs. And I was telling somebody that earlier, like, you can't go nowhere or talk to your family member or just in public. You can't openly in public be talking about you a flat earther. Everybody gonna shun you and look at you like you a nut and you need a fucking straitjacket. So that's why I don't understand how these flat earthers want to tell you like the shit is fucking normal and the shit is fucking crazy. And like I said at the beginning of this show, I'll explain how the two flat earthers made a fool of themselves, and they basically proved spherical Earth is right. I just can't get how people think that the Earth is flat. They working real hard. I gotta admit, they working real hard to keep this kind of thought contained to the internet. It frequently argues, with flat earthers. I think it's a good thing. Like I said, they question it. But we have real problems in this world. They can be questioned, but not the shape of it. And that's how it was, in history. It was real problems in the world, and it was so much problems going on. They really wasn't focused just on the shape of the earth. But it's definitely true. We brushed off as dumb or in anti-intellectual or and what you want to say indoctrinated because we learned things. But when you look into a lot of the literature, there's some very interesting arguments. Even for non-believers. Now, um, I imagine we're fairly even with the populace as far as it goes, as far as our intelligence goes. But flat earthers tend to have a better idea why people believe the earth is round because they are forced to regularly question, argue their beliefs. Where most of us brown earthers, we was internalized what we learned in grade school, and rarely we thought to even question some shit like this. I mean, it's blasphemous. Why would I question what I'm learning? But like I say, it's good to challenge it. But once you learned it and you've been learning it this long, what's gonna change? Like I don't think this phenomenon they really is restricted to just flat earthers. As I even get older myself, I realize more and more how easy we dismiss others with contrary views of our own. Many dismiss, Republicans and Democrats as idiots, religious against atheists, just the same kind of attacks. And while it's unclear if the group is growing right now, because I just can't see flat earthers society still growing, which is not. The numbers is really relatively small. But it's hard to put a number on the flat Earth community as it's spread out because, like I said, it's reaching. It's a good topic for the internet for the meanwhile. But our reach through preps are interesting. While sometimes it's nice to quantify something far more often, looking at it, quantitatively. But it's a bit odd and misplaced. We mentioned like we got shows like Modern Family and Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, and have gained numbers of celebrity followers. What's the name? Bob, uh, Tila Tequila. I think something about the idea is a bit of a lightning rod. It captures the imagination of many people, and dares in the ass. It dares a lot of people to ass as well as it flat. But I'm one of these people that will let you know that the earth is flat. Now, some people will say we indoctrinated about what they tell us in history and stuff like this. And then I point out, I'm like, did you know Gaddafi is when before he got blew up, he had a globe on his desk. If you see the picture screenshot that I used for the picture of this video, it was actually a picture on the same day or the same time period, but it was the same place. The king of Ethiopia was a black man. Okay, so they say, "Oh, why you don't listen to your copper brothers?" Well, he is a black man. Okay, so I'm listening to him, and actually, just to point out, the Queen Elizabeth actually bowed to this man. But how, just like I said about Gaddafi, he had a globe in his main library where I'm pretty sure that's where he got killed at. But this same king of Ethiopia back then, he had a globe that's fucking taller than his body, and it was a globe. Now, just some extra little facts. It's good to keep up with a modern globe. Next 10, 20 years, it's gonna still be a globe that's more modern. Like if you notice, see, they don't understand science and how lava, forms volcano, we end up get some land, end up being new countries. Well, anyway, long story short, in the modern globe model today, you would know you got the modern globe if you got South Sudan on it because it's the newest country. Some people go far as say, well, people didn't start saying globe Earth about 1,000 years ago. But as I was telling some people earlier, the modern globe been here since the 15th century. Actually, the accurate year is 1506. Um, so I mean, it's a whole bunch of different. It's 1,000 different ways where you can see that fucking Earth is a globe. And I don't know. I guess people is trendy. Maybe flat Earth is trending for a lot of people. I mean, I guess that is. The arguments I give all the time is I don't know if they thought I was being funny or just sounding stupid, but we have a horizon. You cannot have a horizon on anything flat. If you take a flat piece of paper, even you can take a flat big piece of paper, as long as it's small enough to just spread it across your floor or something. You're not going to have a fucking horizon to that shit. So how they made the show Behind the Curve. Uh, I don't think people understand the word horizon is basically telling you that it's a fucking curve. I mean, that's what it is. It's a horizon. And when you did the boat test, the eye test, I guess that don't really uh, resonate with a lot of people well because they're quick to say the thing about why water don't fall. So I told somebody that earlier. I'm pretty sure everybody know how you use a triangle. And I just told him, well, you want to see how the water don't fall? All you do is take a piece of pizza and fold it up by the corners to where some of the crust is at the top. And the same way, none of that motherfucking pizza sauce and cheese ain't falling out of that fucking pizza the way you holding it is the same way that the water is not falling off of the fucking globe. And then one guy tried to say, well, I'm gonna just take a piece of paper and pour some water on it, and then take a ball and pour water on it. Okay, it sounds good, but it would be dumb because you're not using the magnetic field. And another thing he said, I'm gonna just turn a cup of water upside down. Okay, but if you ain't got no magnetic field, then the shit is not gonna make sense. And if you make a ball and pour water on it and it got a magnetic field in there, the same way Earth works, then you will see how the water is, and you will see where we live at. Basically, I actually got this from a flat earther that was pretty cool. So I mean, it's good for your mind to work, and it was called the me area. So I was like, yeah, okay, now I understand that. So now y'all see that we not walking on clouds and shit. Now, other things that people didn't know, other than using a map, a globe is a more educational tool. Using a globe, you have is the closest accuracy you can get uh, to measuring our world is by using a globe, not a map. Um, you know, if you know about earthquakes in the plates in our earth, so we have a core. It's real hot in the core. You can't. Somebody asked me, could you just dig through the world? Dig through the ground and come out the other side. But that will be stupid because you can't. It would not make sense. If you try to dig through the earth, you're gonna be stuck in the middle because I guess it didn't register in the head, but you have a magnetic field. So what is a fucking magnet gonna do? It's gonna pull you to the middle, just like how it will pull water to the center. How water just don't fall off, and everything. Well, not everything, but the things or the uh, and what I want to say, the fucking whatever of um the magnetic field basically it's pulling you down, and then pulling whatever down to earth. But then you got to understand that the sun and the moon works with everything too. I mean, every planet works with each other. They all work in sync with each other. So when you work in sync, you're working with the stars and everything else. Now, people are they're misunderstanding the stars. Stars, they go around, but they eventually get back into their place. I want to say it's an hour or a day. But the thing is, the temporary lights that we have on Earth, that has a glare to it also. When you got to think we got stars, we got the moon and the sun also. So whether in an hour or 24 hours, wherever it is, I'm just breezing by real quick. You will be able to see that same star still. Now, some stars are not able to be seen because understanding the science of how far back these stars are, and remind you, these is 100 million stars. Like you might see the Big Dipper, you might see what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You might see about 9 or 10 stars, but really that's about 900 stars, or just say 1 million stars. But it's so many stars, to where you can't see the other star. That's why, people discover stars and shit like that. It's just because of the glare of the stars. It's really stars behind stars. Just like putting 1 million fucking ice, what's that fucking ice dot ice cream? You drop make a big bucket of that, you ain't gonna see all of the fucking ice cream dots because there's too many of them, and that's not even probably not even 1,000. We talking about millions of fucking stars that's bright, and we got temporary light from the Earth that's perceiving your deceiving your perception of what you're looking at. Now, another thing that I use is, our globe model. I mean, and then I get, like I said, it's okay to challenge things, but then it's like, damn, you looking okay? So, what I was gonna say, damn it, our fucking fuck, I was about to hit y'all with some shit, and I just got a fucking brain fart. But yeah, man, I'm being silly, man. I'm getting tired, man. I gotta go to uh, funeral tomorrow, so I'm kind of just skimming through this. I really used a couple of my gems on the show that I was on earlier, but yeah, that in a nutshell. Other topics that I wanted to hit on is, they you see that we have stardust in every well no I ain't even gonna get into that, but basically I want people to you got to remind yourself that everything in the fucking galaxy, everything's a fucking star. If it's a mass star, then that makes it a planet or a moon or anything like that, but everything is fucking a star. We're fucking star. Now what I want to get to is, let me see, what else I had to crush this flat earth theory on, because I mean I don't know if I'm doing a good thing or a bad thing by, you know crushing the flat earth, because I mean it's starting to get a fun topic to talk about with people. I'm trying my hardest not to use my religious factors in what I'm speaking of, but I guess I can throw a little bit of religion in there. And then one thing is the tree of life. Don't be stupid. Tree of life is not a fucking tree. It's, it's metaphorically describing what they was describing. Because I ain't even gonna get into that. But all I can say is the tree of life isn't a tree. Uh, Let me see. Let me get back to this. 'Cause I got some more heat for y'all, man. Give me 1 second here. Let me see. Um, I lost. Let me see. I lost all my little notes I didn't had. I think I didn't use all my ammunition earlier. But one thing is, traveling in different time zones is another thing that I wanted to tell you about. We uh, you know, you couldn't travel in different time zones on a flat fucking Earth. If it was a flat Earth, if we measuring by day sunrises or anything like that, and therefore, if it was a flat Earth, it would be the same time everywhere on the Earth at the same time. But since it's a globe spinning on its axis and with a tilt, therefore, is some people gonna be waking up at 5, and some people gonna be your sunrise gonna be at almost 7 o'clock. I mean, it's just as simple as that. Uh, you know, what's some other uh, getting writer's block right now or mental block? I don't think I didn't hit all. Let me go through my notes. Let me see if I got anything else. Because really, I was just gonna do a quick little spiel, man, about everything, but I could probably go. Let me see. So Just to let y'all know, man, the Earth is a globe, and the Bible does not say flat Earth. I usually try to get people to tell me the scriptures that it come out of, and then I can, basically enlighten them. Now, mm, I guess I can go through this other spiel. I guess. Let me see if I got time. Hold on one second. Give me 1 second. Okay. All right. Now let's get back on the ball. Now, lately, as flat Earth theorists, they have become more vocal. I can say that. It seems through people more frequently ask questions. Uh, so it's cool to to challenge. Uh, you don't believe in space, but I mean, you see thousands of people sitting there watching this rocket shoot up in the sky. And for some reason, these motherfuckers say they shooting a rocket in the sky just to land in the motherfucking ocean. I mean, now that makes no sense. I've known people whose family members then went up in the rocket. They crying, worried about their loved one. Then they end up being able to talk to their dad while he floating around in a fucking rocket. I mean, in the spaceship. Once they settled in space at the space station, what have you. And how I was telling somebody that told me to just pour a cup of water out. Well, if you want me to pour a cup of water out on Earth, you might want to see somebody pour a cup of water out on space. Then, I mean, you really can't use the cause and effect, but you can equate it to get a cause and effect and see what is the cause of pouring your water in space to pour it on Earth. And then I guess that's how they want to, use that there's no gravity. Now, like I said, y'all know we have a horizon, so therefore we are on a ball. Now, there's nothing more accurate than using a globe. We can predict exactly when there's going to be a lunar eclipse. Now, that alone is convincing enough for me. I mean, especially when you see the shadow of the Earth uh, on the moon with curvature. So all you got to do is look at your shadow at the wall, and your shadow is going to show your similarity. So therefore, a square or a flat Earth is not going to make a curve on the moon. But as I was saying, if you're able to predict a eclipse, a lunar eclipse on the exact day, and they know when it's going to happen, and a lot of lunar type of activities happens on different months, and they're perfectly accurate. You can't be that accurate with a globe. So I mean, so you telling me that the globe is fake, and they're counting the rotations, and they're saying there's going to be an eclipse on this day. That should be enough proof right there. So I don't understand it. Um, I mean, I don't understand. I mean, niggas you traveling through time zones. I mean, that should prove that it's a curve right there. You know, um, you can measure shadows all the way across the country. You can go all the way across the country and measure shadows, and you can. That's another way that you can tell that the Earth is a globe. I mean, I don't understand if everything that we learned in school, and then you want to call it indoctrinated, and then say that they lied to you. Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure we done been lied to by a lot of people from different avenues. It's true, but I like people to seek knowledge, and I mean, even most globe earthers, or I mean, anyone. using their brain, you're going to challenge it. We're not just saying, oh, here, we show you this and you take that. I want to say that y'all do that because when you use CGI image, they say all these pictures are fake. All these pictures are fake. Well, no shit. I mean, that's like, the technology that they had to do to be able to even take pictures underwater. So now you got to take pictures in space. If you smart, you know how black space is. How the fuck is you gonna get a regular flash and get a clear picture? We can barely get a clear picture on Earth. So what they use is a CGI image. Just because it's a CGI image does not mean it's fake. It does not mean it's Star Trek. So people got to get that through their head. Just because Star Trek and Star Wars uses CGI images, cool. But I mean, you can still even tell that it's fake. So people that don't know, a CGI image is an image that's captured and transmitted to the computer and projected out that way. So it's an image that's captured, but it's just projected to the computer. It's just not like the Polaroids. So in instances, sometimes they have to clean it up. People see the different colors and wonder, but why is it different colors and why this globe? Well, dummy, you fucking believe that is fucking millions of pounds of fucking water clouds that's floating around? Y'all don't even care if you don't even believe that it's spinning. But I know you believe that you see the clouds move or you see something. So that right there is able to cover up land masses, different sizes. One guy showed me a picture of a guy that brought a car out in space. So I'm looking at the picture and I'm like, okay, now I can tell you off rip. Now that's fucking fake. This nigga in a race car, but the race car is damn near about the size of the Earth. And all they want to say, well, how can you see all the curvature of the Earth? Blah blah blah. Look at the size of the car. How can you see the whole Earth? Well, I told them you can just do this. You can take a fucking book and you can block the whole moon from wherever you at. You can take a book, stick it up in the air to where you see the moon, and you won't see none of the damn moon sticking out past the book. So that totally debunks that. Now, we have satellites. I don't know why people don't want to believe that the satellites ain't working, but even like my dude Drop said, these cell phone towers and shit, you can't get in television off of no damn cell phone tower. I mean, just think, what GPS wouldn't even work right if it wasn't a globe. So we're using these satellites and these GPSs and these phones and all this wireless shit, and yet we have idiots who do not believe that it's fucking satellites that's out there. Like they don't want to believe science. So I say this. You feel comfortable plugging up your TV, you know it's electric currents coming through the motherfucking thing, but you believe science that they got a rubber cap on that motherfucker so you won't get electrocuted. So you want to believe science for that, but then you want to pick and choose what science is right. And 9 times out of 10, the motherfucker who's saying it is not even a fucking scientist or even near that level. I mean, so I don't understand why would someone push an agenda of it being a flat earth, and there's so many thousands of things to show you that the earth is a globe. Other things, they believe astronauts. I mean, this is asinine, man. Talking about astronauts, it's asinine. They say that it ain't astronauts. They say that everything is faking. But we have parents who were astronauts, and now their children are just graduated from an astronaut school. Okay, so now they're going to. So you think they're really going to tear their child? I mean, look at something as serious as Kobe Bryant's little helicopter accident and killed him. You think these motherfuckers about to go up here playing around on a fucking rocket that's fucking, you know, excuse my French, so high to bump your head on the moon? You know, I'm just being funny, but damn, I mean, like, you see the rocket going all the way up there. I mean, what you think they did a David Copperfield trick once it didn't went up there? You know, like I told somebody before, I forget. They said a fucking rocket is fucking like 20 million pounds or something like that. I mean, I would just be, you know, excited to see. I'm like, how the fuck you shoot 20 million pounds up in the air like that? That's like taking a fucking, it's like, that's like Superman picking up the Empire State Building and flying around with it. I would be more amazed about that than, you know, trying to believe that they're not going where it looked like they're going. I mean, you can observe, you know, the planets as well. They all rotate, and watching over the course of a few days gives it a clear picture that they are spherical rather than flat. Now, the chance that most of the planets are spherical, but the Earth seems flat, that you, if you want to be smart, that's very unlikely. You know, when science experiments are, you know, performed correctly, they can appear to give the opposite result. You know, if they ain't do the shit right. But like I said, even you know, the two flat earthers that did the science experiments, they actually won the battle for us. They actually proved that the Earth is a globe. I mean, even schools can do today, as you know, to send a camera up in a high altitude balloon. The footage will show that from a high enough vantage point, you can see the curvature of the Earth. You know, and you know, this is what you know, Mike Hughes will find if you know he ever makes his rocket work. I don't know if you know who he is, but ultimately, arguing on the internet is not the best way forward. So I did lead this open panel, but I just wanted to give a quick briefing on my views on the Earth is a globe, and there would be no way for a flat Earth to work. I mean, it's simple as that. So, you know, this your boy K.Z.U.P TV, man. I just wanted to give a quick briefing. Much love. I'll be doing another show uh, sometime this week. But and thanks y'all for you know stopping by. It was just a quick little briefing. I got to get some rest, man. I got a funeral to go to by tomorrow, man. God bless y'all, and I'm out.